Hey Oliver.
Huh?
Hey,
Huh?
Oliver?
Mike?
Holy shit, you sound off.
I am awful.
You got a furball?
Oh God.
Get it?
Uh,
This
yeah.
episode's about a cat.
Uh,
Anyways.
is this the Nowhere to Dad podcast? God.
Yeah, I mean, that's secretly my actual agenda for this podcast. I've actually lured you into a trap and now you cannot escape. You are now a dad,
Uh,
whether
hey,
you
don't
want to be or not.
don't frighten me like that. I am in no way prepared. How's it going, Mike?
It's going, man. How you doing? You doing better?
Yeah, I'm doing.
Feeling better?
I'm getting back. I'm getting back to a functional state.
Normal state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
You're ejecting all the chaos.
Yeah. I don't know what I sound like, but I feel like I sound like Kermit the Frog consistently. Um, I feel like complaining
How
about
did
things like Ray Romano or something.
it,
Sports or I don't
yeah.
know. Yeah. Spring is here. The flowers are everywhere.
Your body is telling you.
Yeah, in my face particularly. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think we talked about this in our last, whenever we hung out last. But just the idea that like, yeah, it's just recovering from things. It's just not in the cards like it used to be. And so,
Yeah.
even a cold is just like debilitating. And then I look at like, I run into, as you do on Twitter or whatever, just like, oh, look, it's a Navy SEAL talking about how he runs like 10 miles a day. And I'm like, fuck, God. And he's 50. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he took out bin Laden. I'm like, oh, cool.
Wow.
Awesome.
500 confirmed kills too, right?
Mm-hmm. Which I'm not going to deny the guy. But,
Yeah, of course. I mean, who are we to say?
right. But you know who is to say? My knees. I'm not doing that. I can't do that.
I can't do that either.
Can't even sit for long periods. Anyways, welcome to the Nowhere to Go podcast, where you can dad it out with the rest of us. And
Yeah, Dadcast.
oh boy, how you doing, Mike? Just do like 30 starts. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah. How's spring treating you? How's the
Hey,
weather?
well, I'll tell you, spring started for me early February,
Oh
so
God. Mm.
so it's been hitting me uh pretty hard. It's more of a shock because we've been actually getting some actual rain now.
Hmm.
Um, the rain is bringing some colder weather in behind it for just like a few hours, but it's always like a shock to the system because I'm just like sweating my ass off, dying, and it's fucking pitch black outside, and the sun's not even out, and I'm still dying from humidity. I got no shirt on, just sweat. Then I'm in bed with like just a sheet because you can't have a comforter in this state. Unless you want to die, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's your cocoon you want to wrap up in and
uh,
transform.
yeah, uh, I say like back in my Florida life, my life essentially.
Yeah, in your previous Floridian life.
Yeah, it was constant. Yeah, I was the adamant like if it's not below 70 degrees, I'm not sleeping. Like it's just not gonna
Yeah,
happen. And if the AC is shooting ice cubes at me, I'm a happy guy. I am sleeping comfortably because I can't do that either. I can't.
that's how I started out because my mom was the same way.
Hmm,
I was living with her, and she'd always crank it, man, like 73 degrees minimum.
yeah.
And I believe at some point we were like 67 degrees on the AC in our house,
Yeah.
and I remember freezing during that. But like when I went to college, I got to change the thermostat to whatever I wanted. So I like it.
Freedom.
I like it a little hotter. So I now in the house, just to keep it economic for me, is just 83 degrees. So
God, what?
yeah, yeah. So
Mike.
83 degrees
Mike.
is what we sit at.
No. Just what? What? 83.
Yeah.
Why?
During
Why?
the summer, the AC is set to 78, but it always sticks on 80.
Oh my God, Mike.
Yeah.
No, you need to
Yeah, man.
leave. That is not
Yeah.
acceptable living
Hey,
conditions.
man,
Like,
that's been my life for fucking 5 years.
God. Oh my God, you might as well just camp. What are you doing?
Yeah, pretty much. Just with less bugs.
Fair. Okay. God, that's crazy. I remember. All right, last story before we get into it. I remember like being in high school, big hurricane hits. We have no power for like 2 weeks, right? And me and my mom, like being the cool kids we are, because we're identical people, and we're both like, it needs to be, it needs to be the Arctic or we can't sleep. And we would like sneak out to the car while my dad and my sister were sleeping, and I'd bring my DS Fat, right? And I had, for some reason, I had a car charger for that bad boy, and I'd charge it in the car, and my mom would just sit there with the AC blasting, and we're just like, this is heaven. Like, but it had to be between us. We're like, we can't let anybody. We don't want the other two in here because then they're gonna ruin it. They're gonna be talking. They don't understand what peace is. Like, they don't appreciate the calm and the cold.
Solace.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, good old days. But damn, dude, 83. Holy shit.
That's what it usually goes up to in summer. I do enjoy the colder weather, like when I don't have to use like the cool AC at all.
Yeah.
And it's just, that natural atmosphere is tolerable. Instead of 90 degrees outside with the sun beating down with no clouds or wind.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but
yeah.
All right. That's still really bad, dude. Like,
yeah.
Right.
I was talking to my cousin. I think we're looking at New York to move. We're looking at New York State.
Yeah.
To move.
It's gonna get cold as hell there, dude.
That'll be a big shift for me.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna be like, I don't know if you ever seen the movie Cool Runnings.
I don't know, Mike. We only talk about it all the fucking time.
I'm gonna say it every time. I'm gonna say it. I don't know if you've heard this little film called Cool Runnings.
Was it Louis Anderson or was it John Candy? I can't remember. Every time, dude.
John Candy. John Candy.
Yeah. Okay. You say so. So what have you been playing lately, Mike? What's new in video games for you, or what's recent?
Elden Ring.
Hot game.
Most recent game.
Yeah. Game of the year somewhere. I'm sure. I'm sure somebody said it.
Yeah, it was one of those years. It was a game of the year.
Yeah.
I've been playing the co-op mod. Co-op mod on PC is a lot of fun.
How many people in the co-op mod?
I'm playing with, it's 3 of us, including myself, but you can play with 5 people.
Dang.
And this mod works so well. There's a spectator cam that they just put in the game. Wasn't a feature before in the game before. They're just like, fuck it, if someone dies in the party, the only way to revive them is by sitting at one of these bonfires and just resting. If you're fighting a boss and one of your guys goes down, they can just spectate cam between any of the players that are still alive. It's just really cool, man.
So
a lot of fun.
Is the beginning of the game really easy now with 5 or 3 people? You just like kicking a dude when he's down?
Yeah.
Bullying.
Pretty much. It makes the game a lot easier, but like the bosses still have added health based on how many people are present.
Oh, okay.
So that's usually how these games usually work. Whenever you would summon someone to be a co-op partner.
Oh, okay.
Because originally, for all the Dark Souls games and Elden Ring included, you can summon in a co-op buddy to fight a boss. Basically, someone would put down a summon sign. It's like an in-game item, and they put it usually at like areas that you can actually be summoned in. So, like for Elden Ring or Dark Souls, you put it at a boss gate, which is just a big fog wall where you know a boss is going to be on the other side of. And so you put your summon sign down, and then it'll randomly show up in someone else's world, and they just pick it randomly. Oh. Or if you want to specifically co-op with a friend, you can make a code. It's a very, very dated process from Soft. They really need to like get with it. I'm just fucking like co-op system kind of sucks ass. It's fun for like random co-op, but like for friend co-op, it's just so tedious and just not fun. So like this mod just takes all that away. Basically, you can play the entire game seamlessly. That's what it's called, the seamless co-op mod. and because Elden Ring is broken up into many little co-op not like nodes
Yeah.
basically.
Hmm.
So like you can only co-op to a certain extent, and then when you finish that one task, that your co-op partner would just leave your world, they would unsync, disconnect, then you'd be back in single player. There's all these little things, man, but um co-op mod fixes all that. You could literally just play the game, everyone progresses together. Like there's no finicky business with like how the story works. You don't have to go into each and everyone's world to progress the story forward or anything like that. Basically, you're just playing the game. There's extra people there. It's awesome.
Sounds like the way all multiplayer games should be, huh?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Hmm.
Modders, man, they figure it out.
They figure it out. Yeah. I'm always like astounded by like modders. Just like
Yeah, dude.
mostly just because like why y'all doing this for free? Like kind of,
Yeah.
what do y'all come on now? Like but yeah.
I mean, we're thankful. I'm very thankful.
No, I'm super thankful. Yeah. I mean, let me tell you something. Jedi Academy was a good PC game.
Yeah.
But it was a hell of a lot better. Like when I was Neo fighting Agent Smith, you know, it was incredible. Like that was the best Matrix game I ever played.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Cool beans. Yeah.
So what about you? What have you been playing?
Well, I've been very sick
Yeah.
and very busy with work, so I've been trying to like just sneak in gaming whenever I can.
Yeah.
But since the last time we really talked, a few things. I beat Fatalis in Iceborne.
Oh, fuck, really?
Yeah. It was,
Holy shit, you did it?
I did it.
Oh my god, that's awesome, dude. Congrats.
Thank you. It was an endeavor. I was sick
Yeah,
as a
dude.
dog and just like I'm just gonna
man,
grind it out. I'm just
Good
like
shit.
just grinding out as many missions so I can get as many golden eggs so I can just
Yeah,
boost
dude.
up my defense.
So did you do it with co-op? Yeah.
No, I did it on my own.
Holy shit,
and
what a legend.
It
What
was,
a legend.
dude, and like it was, it was so, like, so I took off the numbers, right, the damage counters. So I was just like, I think this is working. I'm not sure if it's working.
Perfect. Yeah.
But like, yo, I can't imagine beating Fatalis without a lance because like so many of those attacks, I just had to like just push through, and I was like, oh my god. Like that big flame one where I can just hold it down, and I was like, this is it. But yeah, just dude, like, and just taking the time to learn his attacks, learning just like not like which ones are the ones I can take and which are the ones I absolutely cannot take, and all like the little subtle things, because Fatalis is so fucking big. It's like hard to like catch.
It's super long.
Yeah.
It's very flat on the ground.
Yeah.
He's very sneaky.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to like maneuver around him, and catch like his tail whip thing is, God, it's like 5 fucking frames, man. Just wham, and you're like 80% done. I'm like, oh god, what the help?
Yeah.
But yo, shout outs to my Palico, for fucking pushing me through. Holy moly.
Flash, right?
Yeah, Flash came through, big time. But yeah, it was super. It felt so good to get it done, and I was like, it was like my soul was at peace. I was like, all right, I can kind of move on. I'll probably go back and goof around with it and just kind of jump into some randos and help them out and stuff. I did beat him again with like just help, and that was also really fun. But it was just like, man, I wish I had friends. Like I wish it was my friends doing this. It was cool to do with like randos, and they were, like everybody showed up and everybody had a little Fatalis Palico, and I was like, okay. I guess I'm like, we got this. All right, let's do it.
That was basically my experience with it too. I wanted this to be a moment I shared with friends when I did it, but like, unfortunately, that just didn't happen for me. Like, I did eventually beat it with some friends, but it just wasn't that experience that I was looking for. And it was kind of like I still kind of hold the Fatalis like fight in Monster Hunter World like as a moment where, like, I wanted it to be more, but it just I don't know. I guess I was asking for too much, but like hearing you finish that fight is just such a highlight for me because I know how much of an endeavor it is,
Yeah.
and we're such big Monster Hunter fans, and that fight is like just tuned to be like the peak
Yeah.
fight
Yo.
in the entire game series. I want to say
when
it's like
when Proof of a Hero starts playing, I was on
it's
fire. I
perfect.
was like, this is it. Like, I'm gonna murder you, and this is the right time. Like, the gods have chosen me.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it was
You did
super
it, you
cool.
did it, man.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I don't know if I could ever do this again, like solo.
I get that.
But like, I might like now. It feels like okay. Now that game is in like personal goals mode, and I'm like, but I feel no pressure. It's like I can always come back to this at some point. And I got my nice save, and I've got like my everything set, which is basically like it's just health boost, divine protection, just like don't let me die set, medicine, recovery. I was like, yeah, I don't. Everyone like when I looked at all like these are the sets you need. You need part breaker, blah blah blah. I'm like, I can't even get like he can't blink at me without me fucking exploding. So none of this helps me. But yeah, I'll probably go back to it at some point, but no hurry. Yeah, I got that done, and then also I liked they did a few callbacks at the end where like the A-lister, the excitable A-lister or whatever, he was like, oh yeah, like my master, I forgot his name, damn it, but he's from Monster Hunter 4. He's the guy who helps you, who leads like the hunts against the frenzy, Gormagala and all that stuff. Yeah. And I was like, oh, cool. He's like, you're his apprentice, and I like how it kind of tied everything in together in a really interesting way. Because you don't get a lot of that in Monster Hunter, right? It's very loose. It's very like, oh, like the story is basically like, I was trying to look at a
Velocidrome.
Yeah, Velocidrome, and then a Rajang came and murdered me. Come help. I'm like, what?
Also, cat pun.
Yeah. Paris. Like, okay, sure. So it's kind of cool seeing that, and then like the grandeur of like the whole event, Castle Shrade, all that stuff. Felt really great. So that got that done right in time for the Battle Network collection to come out, Mega Man games. And
nice.
Yeah, so picked those up, and then immediately got hit with like, oh, these games are old. Oh, these are rough. Like,
oh no.
I mean, they're fun, but there's a lot of like, I know a lot of the internet doesn't like them. I don't really have a problem with like random battles. What is it? Gosh, there's a phrase. My brain is foggy from medication and caffeine. Like when you're playing an RPG and just running around, you get and you're fighting.
Right. Yeah. Random battles.
Yeah. That never bothers me. The only issue I have in this game, especially because I'm just gonna do them in order, and I kind of want this collection to be like my little like palate cleanser. It's like I beat a thing, and I'm gonna jump into this, and I remember this is cool, and it's kind of goofy to look at these old games that I really liked. The music's great and whatever, but like yeah, it's just like battle after battle after battle, and I'm like getting turned around in these isometric maps. I'm just like, what fucking way was I walking? Oh my god, here we go again. And I just doing it. It's a little rough, but we're talking a lot in Discord. Other people are playing it there, and they're like, yeah, it gets better in the next game. You can start to see the changes that they make, and I'm like, all right. So it's not the worst, but it's fun, and I can use my drifty ass Joy-Cons, so I can actually play it on the train, like, because you don't need the sticks. You can just do D-pad and buttons. So I'm like, yay. That's super cool. But yeah, the last thing I jumped back into was actually Monster Hunter again. It was just Rise. With the last update, they had Amatsu.
Right.
And I want to get back into it because I don't remember. I feel like we must have beat Amatsu when we played through Generations.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
But like, it's all like it's a bit of a blur. That's now what? Right. How many years ago is that now? Right, like forever
And I
ago.
mean, Amatsu's whole thing, especially in the older game, I don't know how he's in the new one.
Mm.
Amatsu is just like up in the air the whole time, so you don't even really see the fucking monster. So it's just like you're just, especially if you're playing a melee class, you're just kind of like, okay, you see something wiggling at the top of your screen. So, oh, you're dying. Okay, that's Amatsu.
Yeah, he comes down a lot. I mean, he's always floating.
Okay.
He doesn't like land ever.
Right.
You can bring
He
him
doesn't have
down.
legs, right?
He doesn't what?
He doesn't have legs, right?
Yeah, I don't think he. Yeah, I don't think he does actually. But yeah, it's not. So I just want to jump in and do the fight. I'm like very much. I don't want to do any of the curio shit. I don't want to. I'm just not gonna do that grind. Like when I see the results of like, oh, this is what you get for it, and it's like, it's not even like a double-digit % like increase in damage. I'm like, nah.
It's a fucking dust, like.
Yeah. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's like
For how much time? Oh no.
Right, yeah.
Invested.
It's like you gotta get a bunch of curious fangs, and you gotta kill, a couple of Arzuros or whatever, but it's gonna take you like 45 minutes per hunt. Like, nah. I'm good. It's not worth it.
Nah.
But yeah, I did the fight. Fun. It was fine. It was. They had a little bit of the silly, melodramatic bad acting. Like, don't do it. I don't want you to do it. I've got to do it. I'm angry. And then like, oh no, the monster's actually quite scary. All right, I'll leave it to you, Hunter. Like, you're going to anyways. All right, just get out of the way. Don't waste my time. Move along. Yeah, but the fight's cool. It's cool to see that kind of monster. Cool to see the Elder Dragons. I like Elder Dragons. I like the idea of Elder Dragons. But right now, like the discourse on Twitter is like, it's either it's the greatest hunt ever, or it's like the worst hunt ever. And of course, everybody's got to like jump to extremes, and now they're like comparing it to like the Fatalis fight because it's like the last Elder Dragon or whatever. And I'm just like, I don't even know if you can. They seem so uncomparable because like the especially the Fatalis fight is so like built up in game, right? Like the admiral, not the admiral, the brigadier general or whoever he is, shows up.
Supreme commander.
Yeah, he shows up with like the royal guard. I'm like, oh, who are you guys? And they're like, oh, we need your help. Like, oh, well, thank you. I'd be happy to join you. And you go to like a mythical place.
You beat an alien. Beat an alien, and then a fucking thing from Final Fantasy came down.
You saved the Moogle.
Yeah, we know about that, and yeah. And then the alien turned into a dragon, you say?
As they do. That? Yeah. We got notes.
All right.
Yeah, it's not as like bombastic. It didn't feel as like as big of an accomplishment. Even I killed him in my first hunt. I was like, all right, like it was fine. But I adjusted a lot of the settings. I turned off all the speaking. I was like, everyone needs to just stop yelling at me. I turned off the damage counters. I took off most of the like the flashiness, all the effects and stuff, and it felt a little better. I was like, okay, it feels a little bit more grounded. But yeah, I feel like it's one of those like I'm gonna come back to it and just check out the monster and be like, all right, I'm good, and then just kind of walk away. But yeah, now I'm just in the waiting game for Tears of the Kingdom. Just
it's so close.
Yeah, I got I actually like got the day off like from work. Like,
oh, rad, dude. Nice.
Yeah, I got it off. I'm like, all right, this is it. Like,
dusk till dawn.
Yeah, basically. Like, come home from work, take a nap, wake up at midnight, be like, let's go, just nonstop.
Nice, man.
Yeah, but yeah. Besides that, I've been playing the game that we're here to talk about today.
That's right. You want to get started? Ready?
Yeah, I think I'm ready. I just beat it like an hour or so ago. So
nice. So you're very fresh.
I'm very, very fresh. I got lots of thoughts.
I beat it last week, and I just want to say thank you, Oliver, for suggesting Stray, because that was a very good game.
Yeah,
it surprised me in a lot of ways where I just didn't expect to like it as much as I did.
Yeah, I
And
think.
it's a very enjoyable game.
Yeah, I think I was like, oh, this is a, I just heard like the cat game. I'm like, it sounds interesting,
Yeah.
and it was better than I thought it would be.
Mhm.
Of course, I can always nitpick at little things, but for the most part, like it was like it's a solid game. Um, Very much in the vein. I was actually thinking like, it's got the type of solid story that's similar to like actually to like Tron Legacy, right?
Okay.
It's not overdone, right?
Mhm.
It's they hit you with what you need, and it gives you
Right.
enough to want to know more, but then it kind of just wraps up in a like, this is how we're gonna end it, and we're good. I'm like, all right, I like it, solid. Yeah,
Yeah.
solid story structure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But why don't we talk about the game club thing? Because that's something
Sure.
we
Yeah,
wanted to
let's
start, and yeah, go for it. You pitch it to the people.
So yeah, the game club's basically where we set a game. Me and Oliver will talk about it and decide on what game we want to play. Um, and anyone who's listening can join in on the conversation when we're playing along together. Essentially, we're thinking more like single player game. So
Yeah.
like shortish. We could do longer games in the future if we want. If something really stands out, like we'll definitely talk about like games like Breath of the Wild. That'll essentially be a game club at some point, where it's just like, yeah, we're just gonna talk about this game a lot.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So, but yeah, game club games like Stray is an easy game to beat in a short amount of time. That worked out pretty well. So you don't have to have a huge investment in hours in it, and we can have a conversation about it afterwards, after we finish the game, after we've seen credits and all that stuff. So basically, kind of like if you think about book club, talk about the book after you've read it, or each chapter as you go along. Same thing for this game club.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is just we kind of want to start a conversation about games, but I think it's really helpful.
I love talking about them. I love talking about games. So.
Yeah, that's all I fucking think about. But yeah, I think it's just a good way to keep to build the community, to have everybody join in, talk about it.
I love hearing other people's perspective, other experiences they have.
Yeah,
because a lot of these games, they have a lot of open ends these days, and some people would just have a completely different experience than the one I had.
Yeah.
So I love hearing about stuff like that, or just like how they felt about a particular moment that we shared playing the game. So
yeah, agreed. So we're gonna try to keep it to single player games. We're thinking because a lot of like the multiplayer games, I think we're just gonna play together.
Right.
And we've been spending a lot of time with the PlayStation Plus. I think we're doing the extra. I think the extra level of subscription, just a subscription service they have. So we've been. It's really great. Yeah, it's a lot of there's a lot of games in there, and we've been goofing around a lot. If you've been watching the channel, you'll see all of our quote unquote pro gaming happening. It's a lot of those games. But also like I think part of the whole nowhere to go like philosophy, if you would, is essentially that we're somewhat pressed for time. We basically get to game mostly with each other on the weekends when we're streaming and stuff. And so like some of it is like we don't at least for me, I can't always give a lot of time to games, deep mechanics and stuff like that. It's a lot, and having this like subscription is a lot easier to just like drop games. Like, all right, I'm good. Like, if it just if it doesn't just jive, like I don't feel the need to like push through and whatnot. But yeah, we just I think we'll probably stick to a lot of those games on that service because it's a lot easier for us to have access to, and for the people in our server to have access to, and easier to talk about it that way.
Right.
But yeah, honestly, I can see a lot of like I'm gonna make a prediction that the next game is probably just gonna be Tears of the Kingdom.
Right. Yeah.
I think everyone in our server is definitely gonna get it. Everyone's pretty hype about it. And it's the next big game I'm gonna dive into. So
I don't know how the hell we're gonna like not spoil each other on this.
I
I think it's just gonna have to be like we're gonna have to have a conversation after the credits roll for everybody, right? That kind of thing. Or how do you want to do it?
I think what we're gonna have to probably do is split the conversation. We're like, we don't have the spoiler channel anymore, but I might just make like maybe we'll make 2 like threads.
Okay.
And I think what we can do is maybe split it, like talking about mechanics and then talking about story, right? Because like we're gonna be probably I don't know because I'm going in blind. I haven't seen much. The most I've seen apparently Ganondorf's back. Seen that guy's face everywhere. I'm like, okay, he's back, fine, whatever, not a big deal. But like, I don't give a shit. It's Ganondorf. Dude's he's as interesting as a plank of wood. But anyway, but I've seen a lot of like, I've seen some memes of like people just mashing things together. So I'm assuming there's some kind of crazy crafting that's going to be going on. And it seems like from the little that I've tried to not see as I scroll through Twitter, which is, is a problem in itself. I'm like, I'm basically like, I'm seeing that there's going to be a lot of like experimentation, it seems like, and it seems like the game is going to really push on that. So I don't think we could avoid that. I think it seems like that's going to be the crux of a lot of the conversation, and I'm excited to talk about that stuff. But we might want to, as far as the podcast goes, I think we're probably going to have to dedicate maybe an episode to the game itself. And that will include like the story stuff. Honestly though, I just Zelda story is just not like I don't care that much. Like
right.
You know,
I mean, it's all about the experience.
Yeah. For me, it's the story of Zelda is the story of the player, solving the puzzles, exploring the world, talking to the people. The only story I really kind of cared about ever was like Wind Waker, because it was like you got to save your sister.
Yeah. I was gonna say Wind Waker is probably the most interesting one.
Yeah.
That I've played personally.
Yeah, because you build yourself up to be the hero, even though you're not supposed to be. You're just a kid, and they're like, okay, you forge yourself into that, and I think that was kind of cool. But I don't
the prettiest Zelda game too.
By far, it's the best one. Like, I'll fight you on that any day of the week. Agree. No, I mean, I'm talking to the audience. I'll fight you now.
To you. You.
Yeah. But yeah, like
that's you, the one with the stain on the shirt. Yeah.
You in the back there with the arms. But yeah, I think we'll definitely do like a wrap up podcast on it. Like, how can we avoid it?
Have to, yeah. It's mandatory.
But yeah, I think in the Discord, I'll set that up so we can definitely talk mechanics. I don't, some people care about story and stuff. That's not really what I want to be spoiled on. I don't want to be spoiled on. It's just a gameplay I don't want to see. Just because I want to have that stupid childlike moment of like, holy shit, like I don't want to. Because another thing I notice that happens when I get really interested in a game, and I get really deep into like all the news that comes out about it, I start caring about the mechanics so much that as soon as I get into the game, I'm searching for those mechanics. I'm searching for like, when do I get this and when do I get that? And sometimes that gets in the way of things. And I think that also kind of like, even with like Monster Hunter Rise, I think that kind of like skewed the way I looked at it firsthand, because I was so invested in like, what are these wire bug moves? Like, what does it mean? What is a refresh? What is it? I wanted to know all the technical ins and outs of it, and it ended up being like the part I liked the least about it.
Yeah, they kind of get in the way, but
a little bit. But yeah, that's another podcast. But So I think we could just agree now. The next game on our game club will probably be Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. It's right there, man.
It's right freaking there, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the next week. Like, I got what, 2 weeks? It's 2 weeks.
Start doing squats. Start doing physical exercise.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna do shit.
That's what I do.
Yeah, you're right. I gotta start working out to make up for the lack of muscle mass. All the muscle mass I'm gonna lose. while I play. But yeah. Anyways, let's get back to Stray. Our
Stray.
current game. Yeah. I like it. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's a good game, man.
Yeah.
It's a good game. If you have, I highly recommend playing that. If anyone hasn't played it yet, hasn't seen it been played yet, I would say this is one of those games where, like, you can watch it and you can experience it that way by just like seeing someone stream it.
Yeah.
But this is one of those games that you kind of have to play to really feel it.
Yeah.
Because when you're moving around, the movement in that game is unique and clever, I would say. As it's not perfect. I would say one of the cons of the game is that it feels a little clunky in places and it can be a little glitchy. At least that's how I experienced that. But the way you move around is this cat it becomes very satisfying. Like just the way that levels are designed and just how you move through them. Otherwise, typically like you see a door and you can't move through it as the character. This cat could just go through the bars, just hop up on a desk, climb out of the roof, like do all these things that aren't typically what you get out of a third-person type action game or a movement system with third-person mechanics. And it's just moving through the world is very satisfying in that way. That's what I found.
Yeah, I felt the same. It's very satisfying. It's also very low risk, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Right. Where like
when you're in danger.
Right. Yeah, it's very clear about when you're in danger. But like even just like exploration, like the closest game I could think of that's similar to it is kind of like an Assassin's Creed. But again, I haven't played one since like 4. But yeah, like that kind of like rooftop movement, verticality and stuff. There's a lot of it here, but it also there's no danger. Like you're not gonna fall off a ledge or anything. You can't really make an error.
Right.
And
you don't have a health bar.
Yeah, there's no health bar. There's no
healing items or anything like that.
No.
It's just kind of like an adventure game, but you're a cat.
Yeah.
And yeah, you get to. It's just that was one of the biggest points that stood out to me is just how unique it felt, because it did take me a little bit, like I was moving through, I was okay, and then like in the slums level, I want to say was where it really starts to shine, because that's where the game opens up essentially.
Yeah.
And as you perform tasks and you're led along by these very cute and charming robot people.
Yeah.
And it's just like when the robots came out and they started, like, you get their little CRTV heads.
Yeah.
Just like the charm goes through the roof. It's just so good.
When like the first time you see a robot, or the first time a robot sees you, I was like,
they're scared, they're terrified.
Oh man, the animation quality of that, I was just like, oh, this is great. I'm like, I hope they're always afraid of me, but then they were. But I was like, oh man, like I hope they all run away from me, like I'm some kind of monster. Yeah, same. But I want to go back to the movement thing, because I also felt there was a little bit of clunk, especially in like I felt like I don't know. There's an option to turn off like the markers for where you can jump, and I didn't do that.
Oh, really?
I left the markers on.
I left them on too.
But I felt like a lot of it was like, even like short hops like required like an input, and I was like, I don't. It pulls me out a little too much.
It kind of feels like it needs to be automatic, right?
Yes, some of it does. Like when you do like the tall vertical jumps, like I can see that, or like the long jumps, like that should need an input. But like I'm a cat, like it's not.
You're going that direction. You're hopping.
You're hopping, right? Yeah. There's no. I don't think I needed to really, But yeah, I loved having to think about how to get into locations like a cat. I liked having to like, when I was thinking about like, oh, I need to get into this room, like I was thinking 3-dimensionally. I was like, okay, I gotta look for a path to get up there, but I might not even be able to go through the window. So I'm basically like spiraling up the building to find an entry point, and that was really fun. And it felt intuitive after a while. It was pretty easy to do, but still satisfying, right? I liked. I also. I wish it would have communicated a little better, because I didn't do a lot of exploration. like in the first area you're at. I think it's the slums. It's the first one.
Right.
Because like you kind of there's a gate. You kind of just leave and you don't get to go back. And I was like, oh, I wish I would have stayed longer and like talked to more of the people, because they're also kind of interesting. Every character had their own name, and they kind of, there was a lot of like give them an item, and I was like, I don't know what to give them, and I just never found what to give them.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I didn't find all the memories either.
I will say there is a level select. Like when you go back to the start menu,
oh, okay.
You can play game or select level in that save specifically.
Oh, okay.
So there is that option, which is really nice.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely go back and check it out.
I on the opposite of you, I did a ton of exploration in the slums. I probably spent like 2.5 hours in the slums exploring, because like the game sets you up to do like a task to like, okay, that character, someone is up there, this character named Momo is like up there, they point you in the direction, he's got a big neon sign pointing to his direction. I went up there, and I when you were talking about how like you had to think about how to like move laterally, or just trying to move up and stuff. When I met that wall, like to go up, I went left and right instead of going up. So I basically just went and did all the side quests without actually having the task to do the side quest first.
Right.
So the game just lets you do that, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So like you're just like, okay, like, oh, the grandma needs wires. Okay, I'll go get you some. I already have those. Here you go. Like it's So that happened to me a lot, where I just did a lot of side quest stuff before the main quest caught up to the required of those side quests to be complete. Because the game is structured like that, right? Where the main quest is basically set you to get from point A to point B, but to get to point B, you have to talk to a lot of people around, get certain items, have a coat weaved for a very cold robot who's just working in a computer den. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So
I was like, I really dug that area. I dug how like it felt very like Majora's Mask-y, like this is like a hub type thing. But I think the game, and again, I was like, I was trying to not rush through, but I was trying to get through it so we could talk about it, and I was like on all kinds of medication, just like falling asleep in my chair. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But when I got to the dock, I was all in. I was like, oh, these are my kind of people. I like how unashamed they are of what they like. Like
the dock, it was the one, the big pillar with all the, like, what was the dock again?
The dock with the guy with the dock, 1.21 gigawatts.
When you said dock, I thought like
no, not like not a pier, not with a boat. Pier. Yeah. The doctor.
The dock.
Yeah, I was like,
his son even has like a fucking puff jacket on.
Yep. That was the other thing. Once we got back, I was like, Yeah.
I'm in. So you meet Doc Brown. He's a robot.
He's a robot. Yeah, it's great.
He requires 1.21 gigawatts.
A bolt of lightning. As soon as he said it, I could just hear it in my head, like a bolt of lightning. I was like, yeah, okay. I was like, let me go to the corner store, get some uranium. It's 1985.
That's right.
And let me just say for the record, that is the perfect movie. If anyone ever has a question about it, if anybody ever thought, like, what is the perfect film? It's Back to the Future. And that's... Find me the stone so I can etch that in, and we can move on as a society. Okay. Yep. Great. That really grabbed me, and the chase scenes were fun.
There's a lot of fun references.
There's a ton of references. It's so
ton of fun references. If you want to, I actually wrote down most of the ones that I wrote, because as I was playing the game, I was making notes. So we have the Back to the Future reference.
Yep.
We have the Skyrim reference. I don't know if you caught that one.
The screwdriver to the knee.
Screwdriver. There's I was a bartender too, like this guy, but then I took a screwdriver to the knee.
I was like,
he's a robot, everybody. It's funny.
Gadum.
There was a Half-Life Portal reference. I just wrote it down loosely. I don't
Uh,
remember now
I don't remember that.
exactly what it was.
I actually haven't played Portal, so I
But
should get on that.
there's definitely a Metal Gear reference in the game
Oh
mechanics
my
of the
god.
game, of the
Oh
hiding
my,
in
the
boxes.
box thing, yeah,
Yeah.
great.
And of course, the best for last, Daft Punk is in the game.
Daft Punk is 100% of the fucking game.
So Daft Punk
Fantastic.
is in this game. So fucking good. The references are just enough. They're very fun and cute. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect game to put that in. So,
Yeah, I think movement's great in the game. I liked that. Okay, so let me give it the big criticism. This is a big criticism I have, and it's
yeah.
it doesn't hold the game back. This is an Oliver problem. Okay, this is a me
All
thing.
right.
But a lot of what was moving the story was like the want to go outside, right? You're in this walled city and they want to get out. And only certain robots want to get out. And that's who you're mostly working with and helping them achieve their goals. And and there's a lot of sacrifice in that. And there's a lot of like, hey, go,
Yeah.
I'll do what I need to do to get you to the next step. Go for it. Find this person, go do it. You're like, yeah, awesome. But it felt like if, as a player, I had all the reason to move forward and go do that, right? But as a cat character,
Yeah.
it felt
It
very
kind of
like,
weighs, especially later in the game. I can see like the slums is kind of perfect because you're just fucking around. It's kind of where the enemies, the Zerks, the first enemies in the game called Zerks, they kind of push you in that direction, right?
right.
So like you're running for your life and you end up in the slums, and then you
Yeah,
fuck around in the slums, and you're just like, okay. Then this little robot B12 is now your companion throughout the game.
yeah, and your
And they're
translator.
basically your translator, right? So more so translating to you, the player, than the cat, because it's a
Right,
cat.
and that's what I mean. Like a lot of
Yeah,
it started to feel like towards the end I was like, okay, I think the cat is less a cat and just a vehicle for me to do the things and explore this really interesting world and really interesting angles and like and to be like treat this whole place like a playground. A cat is a really good way to do that, right?
right.
Um and then there were some things where it was like take a nap. I was like, oh, but why? And it felt like there was a lot of things where they could have like simple things. It could have been like, we need to get you out of here because there's no food for you, or like none of the nobody seemed to like put together that I just didn't belong there and that as a cat I belonged outside. A lot of it was just like, you're one of us, you're a revolutionary. I'm like, I'm just a cat.
I'll say I actually really liked how the robots just kind of treated you as just, oh hey buddy, you're just another you're a living thing like us.
Yeah,
We're on the same plane. There was no like, what the fuck are you doing here, cat?
yeah,
The
I know,
fuck outta here.
definitely.
There's none of that.
I like that, but I think like just motivationally speaking, like as a character, it was just like, why do I need to go outside? And it was just never really addressed. And I was like, or if it was, but like slightly, it was like, you don't belong here. And it was maybe said like twice. And I was like, yeah, but like,
A lot of it was like the speaking characters in the game were all like, oh, you must be from the outside.
yeah,
We've never seen anything like you inside, so you have to be from the outside.
yeah,
So you have to get there. That must mean there's a way to get outside, that kind of thing. So
yeah,
I think that's what they were basically more so leaning on in the start of the game. It kind of lost a little bit in the latter half of the game, where it was just kind of like, yeah, like you do have to do a lot of ridiculous shit. Like the puzzle solving, I felt like more so attuned to like think like a cat in the first half of the game. The last half of the game, like, yeah, you're a human being controlling a cat
yeah.
at this point.
It was just,
So-
it was just like get a cassette tape and put it in the radio. I'm like, what the fuck would a cat be doing with a cassette tape? Like, it's a little.
Or you have to roll in a barrel to avoid lasers.
Yeah, it was a little like video gamey, which is fine. It's not a problem.
Right.
This is when I think about like the reason why those complaints don't hold up. It's because it's part of like the shared language I think we have as like it's how we interact with the software. It's how we interact with the work, and so this is the shared language we have. And until somebody starts giving us newer, more interesting ways to do these things, left is just going to be move, right is just going to be camera, and you're going to have to move things onto pads, pressure pads to make mechanical thing, whatever. It's fine. It's not the end of the world, but it started to create a little bit of a disconnect, and I was like, it's kind of weird that I'm a cat with a human brain. Like,
yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was fine because I feel like the ending kind of like made up for it in a way, where it's just like the send-off is really just succinct, nice, sweet, and I'm just like,
yeah,
good, yes. Don't overstay your welcome. Don't make me think about it too much. Let's just let it go, and you made the effective change on that world, and you don't need to see how it like, they better never come back to this game. Don't ever. There better not be a Stray fucking 2. I'm gonna get really upset. Like, just.
Or if there's a Stray 2, just have it be somewhere else. Because like the game actually shows like, okay, this is Walled City 99.
Yeah. But also, I better not be a cat again. Make it like Pigeon or something. Like,
yeah.
Do something, I don't know. But
Octopus.
Yeah. What? I don't understand. But yeah, I think that game is just full of little moments, little gems of moments that are just
the
like
environment. It's peak environmental storytelling.
Yeah.
It's just.
Oh, I'm
all
sorry.
These charming characters are.
I don't know if you can hear what's happening in the background.
I can't. No.
Okay, good. It's election season, and the politicians in Japan.
Public speaking.
Oh, they're just roaming around in vans with loudspeakers, just blabbing and losing votes, just all of them. And I don't know why the fuck they do it, and everybody hates it. And like, it's just like they will literally corral people at a train station to, like, they'll physically block people, make them have to walk through a line so that they have to shake their local politicians' hands, and people get really upset about it, and they just don't care. Ugh. Anyways, I love this place.
Sorry, 1 second. I'll be right back.
All right.
1 second. I just gotta grab some water.
Go for it. All right, now that the politicians are gone and they're done yelling at us. So yeah, Stray's got definitely some of the best environmental storytelling. But something I really want to highlight that I think is the way forward, I think, for good design, I think, is the lighting. Because holy shit, the lighting in that game.
It's great. It's really good.
I think like the environments are cool, but if without the lighting, like the neon and the darkness and like the reflections on all like the wet surfaces and stuff, and like the change when you go from like indoors to outdoors. Even what's her name? Clementine's like apartment is like the coolest place ever, and it's the lighting. I was like, man, I want to live here. Like, this is amazing.
Something else.
Yeah.
They just jam-pack the environment with so much little things. Perfect for a cat to rummage through and break.
Yeah. I knocked
a lot of shit.
Oh, bro, I knocked everything over. I was just like,
jump on a desk, clear it. You didn't need to go on that desk. Fuck it.
I love how like there's so many like times you get on like a keyboard and it's like, oh, you turned it on. I'm like, did I? Sure. I'm a cat. Do what I want.
Did you jump on the piano?
Of course I did. Yeah, hell yeah, I did. Just blang, blang, blang. Like, yep. This is about right. Yeah, I would. I think kind of to wrap up on Stray, I would 100% recommend it. Took me about 5.5-ish hours, and I didn't really do a lot of exploring, but I'm definitely gonna go back and just check out the place some more.
The extras are interesting because you're picking up little memories from B12 around.
Yeah.
And that story, I think those little touches are really nice because it just like when the revelation of the B12 AI essentially being a copied human brain. He was once a human, a scientist.
Yeah.
That's nice because like you come across memories of like what you went fishing sometimes, or just like people would go fishing because you find like a dead robot uh, next to a fishing rod on a dock somewhere, and
Yeah.
like he recalls that memory of fishing and like what it's like on the inside versus how it was on the outside. These things.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, I gotta bring this up because it really threw me off. What was with the eyeballs?
a lot of eyeballs there. The Zerks.
Did not
Uh,
like that. That like,
it's very creepy.
walked into that first room. Was like, what the hell just
Yeah.
happened? I was like, what kind of game is this? And when you see like the really big one, I
Yeah.
was just like, why am I so uncomfortable? Like, I don't.
Yeah, it's a little Resident Evil-y.
Mm-hmm. You got
The Zerk enemies.
yeah, and then but then like I kind of liked the prison part. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
that was interesting. Yeah, I'll say the biggest con for me, I think, was I just didn't really enjoy the enemy segments that much.
no, yeah, me neither.
Because the moments where you had to run, the Zerks are, you know, zerging you down. Sure, the story reveals the Zerks are just overgrown bacteria that just can dissolve metal.
Yeah.
So, enemy number one to the poor robots that still live there, and they will just kill you. So, but yeah, the running segments were like, those are interesting moments, but like the music's good at least, but when you're sprinting as the cat basically controls like a motorcycle in Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yeah.
And it isn't that fun. It just isn't, unfortunately. But the main segments of the game, thankfully, the running segments aren't the main segments of the game, but
Yeah.
the main segments of the game make up for it. So the enemy running segments are more or less just there to get you from point A to point to the next main part of the game. They're
Yeah.
the in between parts.
Yeah, it's just to close the door behind you, really. Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think that game really succeeds when it's quiet and when you're just kind of
you're taking it all in.
Yeah, you're roaming around, you're getting up high, you're looking around for things.
Yeah. I'll bring up one little, like, I think it's a really subtle, very minor design choice, but I would love to see that in like future RPG type things, or just like in the future in general for these types of games, where you see an NPC and you don't know who they are yet until you talk to them, and there's just a little prompt of like saying meet or like greet.
Yeah.
And then after you've greeted them, now you know who they are. You see their name instead of just seeing greet. I thought that was a nice little subtle design.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
I definitely dug that. I thought, yeah, the way they treat your interactions with the robots is so like it was surprisingly human, I guess. It was very much like the first time they meet you, they all react to you like you're new.
Right.
And then and then they get their little canned, I'm gonna say the same thing over and over again.
Right.
But at least like you get that acknowledgement, and it makes a big difference, I think, in the feeling of like being a lived-in world.
Right.
Yeah. Overall, fucking great game, dude.
Great game. Yeah. Big surprise for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think
that's great.
Yeah. Go buy it or play it.
Play it on PS Plus.
Yeah, yeah, that's how we played it. It's on PS Plus. It's free. It's not free. You pay for the subscription, but it's there for you.
It's included.
Very small download too. Very small download. Surprised.
Yeah, not too long of a game. Doesn't take up too much time.
And it doesn't overstay its welcome, which is so important to me. Because like I think it's really important if the medium is gonna get elevated. It's like you can't always placate to the idea of like the cost time analysis thing where it's like every game has to be 4,000 hours or something.
Yeah, Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Ubisoft addendum.
Yeah, let's not like tell a good story and be done with it. And
please.
and
Please.
it's fine.
Cut out the fat.
Yeah,
Cut out the fat.
no fat, please. Just keep it lean.
Yeah.
Get to the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was good.
Good game.
All right. I don't know. We're
Thumbs
gonna.
up.
Yeah,
Thumbs
thumbs up.
up
Thumbs
rating.
up. Yeah, thumbs up from wherever we're at.
Oh shit! If you're on the other side of the world, that's a thumbs down for me, and my thumbs up for you is a thumbs down for
No,
you.
we're on the same. I'm not in Australia. We're on the same.
You're in Japan, though.
Yeah, but it's not the. But our thumbs aren't different here. It's just
I-
up is still up. It's the same up. It's the same up. We're facing the same. I think we're almost like we're almost at the same like latitude. Actually, I don't think we're that far off.
Shit, okay.
I don't know.
My joke didn't work. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm not a scientist. Don't fucking
Alright.
don't take my word for it. It's just like Monster
Let's get
Hunter.
Neil deGrasse Tyson on here and ask him that question.
Yeah, and then he's
Nothing else.
nothing. Hey Neil.
So my thumbs up joke, does this work, Neil deGrasse Tyson?
And he's gonna be like, well, technically, your thumbs are at a 30-degree angle compared to. Get the hell out of here!
Wow,
Get out of here!
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Get out of here, nerd!
The end
Rudy.
call.
Oh, you like we're gonna? I didn't know you had his number. Like we're just gonna call him up and be like, "Hey, I know you're busy, but yeah, God, I really want to get guests on here. I wanna find other creators to talk about stuff. Let me see if I can
That'd
do
be
that.
a lot of fun.
I'm getting a little bit of clout on Twitter lately.
Okay.
Let me see if I can get some people.
Cool.
I don't want to turn this into like the Monster Hunter cast, but I think I could probably get some other creators who do Monster Hunter like stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a guy I follow. This is like totally off topic, but there's a guy I follow who makes like these Monster Hunter like ecology videos that are actually pretty interesting.
Oh yeah. I think you did point me in this direction. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I don't know, just to talk about how we feel about the games and stuff. But,
That'd be cool.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this up.
It's over.
It's-
Stray conversation done. We're never talking about
Never
it
talking
again.
about it again. Never
If
again.
you want to hear us talk about it again, just replay the video.
Yeah, play it again. I don't know where this is going to be distributed. Definitely YouTube.
YouTube.
Probably some audio thing if I can get that working. But you know, like, subscribe, press the bell.
Do all the things, please.
Whatever buttons you see, just hit them. Okay. But
Yeah,
once,
just not the thumbs down.
yeah, if you do it, yeah,
Just not
don't hit that one.
not,
Is that an option? That's still an option. You can thumbs down things.
yeah, you can.
No,
yeah.
like it, please. If you're here at the end, anyways, stay tuned for whatever whatever other shenanigans we're gonna do. You know,
Oh, so many shenanigans.
so many. We're just gonna. Hey, when are we gonna get? Let me ask you something, and I'm willing to do it because, frankly, because we're finding a little bit of success in our, and it's really fun to play with friends, of course, but just like the goofballery games that are just like, you know, bad
Yeah.
physics and you know.
Yeah.
I like to call them the fuck around and find out games, but it sounds more
Yeah.
like angry than it is. It's like I just want to fuck around and find out what happens.
There needs to be a comment in there somewhere.
Yeah,
Just fuck around.
just fuck around.
And then find out.
Yeah, and then see what. Yeah, but I don't know if I'm willing to extend this olive branch, the
Okay.
longest of branches. Okay, full of olives. This thing. All right.
So many.
Just
So
like
many. Oh,
martinis all day. Okay.
oh my god.
If Overcooked has multiplayer online, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to do it.
Okay.
'Cause-
Overcooked who does, yeah.
Okay, because I think with our crew,
Yeah.
and our,
Yeah, I'm 100% down for that.
I think we could.
We're gonna be so mad at each other.
Oh God, I'm willing to blow a
Yeah,
gasket
It'd be great.
for other people's entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like when we did the moving game, like you know Olivia does the video editing, and I just gave her the video, and
Yeah.
she's like, "This is all gold." I'm like, "I know." It's just, it was all so good.
Oh man.
Like
Yeah.
she just basically cut out like travel time from one goof to another. And it was
That's
like
right, yeah.
the whole gameplay was there. So, but yeah, keep an
yeah.
eye out for that. We got a lot coming.
Oh, even Fall Flat? That could be good.
Human Fall Flat for sure, for sure.
And what was it, Gang Beasts?
Oh please, I love Gang
I would
Beasts.
love to do Gang Beasts.
Ugh.
If we can get more people for that.
Yeah.
so much fun.
Just beat up some randos, man. You and me, tag team.
We did it. Oh shit.
We could just
I didn't
tag,
know
yeah. Yeah, you could do randos. Up to like 8 people or something crazy like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
All right.
Let's call it. Thanks for listening and watching and hanging out.
Yep.
Look at the links, follow all that good stuff, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Say bye, Mike.
See you. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye. This is a Nowhere to Go podcast addendum. Mike, please.
Yeah. The music of Stray is fantastic. It was so good, we forgot to mention it in our long talk about Stray. But on my notes, I have everything listed, and the music I have just listed as music, and I underlined it twice.
Ooh.
That is how good the music is in this game.
Double
It
underline.
draws you in. It just draws you.
It's and if I did a good job, you've been listening to it this whole time. So yeah,
That's right.
it's good. It's good.
It's really good.
I'm gonna look for it on Apple Music. It's good.
I'm listening to it right now.
This guy's living the life. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, listen to it. All right, we good? Is the addendum over?
I think it's it. That's all we wanted to say.
That's it. It's important.
The music deserved a PPS at the end of the video.
Wait, isn't it just a PS if it's just the first time?
Shit, maybe you're right.
Is it like postscript and then
Shit, we gotta
post?
start this again.
Fuck, god damn it.
You gotta do it all from the start.
Like and subscribe. Okay, bye.